Hi, this is Frank Taylor with Nature at Your Door, and today's episode is a Would You Rather episode. And Would You Rather is a great game to play with your grandkids if you're in a car or if you're at a party with friends. And today's Would You Rather question is, would you rather get bit by a copperhead or a rattlesnake? Now, of course, you don't want to get bit by either of these, but it makes an interesting little question, and often people have, in fact, asked me, which is worse, a copperhead or rattlesnake bite? So in this episode, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to answer the question, would you rather get bit by a copperhead or a rattlesnake? So let's begin with taking a look at the contenders, the copperhead and the rattlesnake. Copperheads are beautiful, camouflaged, and widespread across the eastern U.S. They love wooded areas, rocky hillsides, and leaf litter, just like this. Copperheads are pit vipers, just like rattlesnakes are, which means they sense heat and use their special pits near their nostrils to find prey. Let's meet our second contender, the rattlesnake. We have two species of rattlesnakes here on the East Coast. One that has the broadest distribution, which is the timber rattlesnake, and the other, which is more limited to our south, which is the eastern diamondback rattlesnake, which is notorious for its venom. With 30 species of rattlesnakes across America, the timber rattlesnake is probably the most likely you're going to meet. It's bigger, bulkier, and equipped with that famous warning sound, the rattle. So now let's get down to the nitty-gritty, and let's talk venom. Copperheads have hemotoxic venom. It destroys tissue, damages blood vessels, and causes intense pain and swelling. But, and this is the important part, copperhead bites are rarely fatal. In fact, most people recover completely with medical care. And now the rattlesnakes. They pack a bigger punch. Their venom is also hemotoxic, so it can act very much like the copperhead's venom, but it's more potent and it's delivered in larger quantities. Some species also have neurotoxins mixed in, which can affect the nervous system, so that can cause paralysis and interrupt breathing and other things. So the rattlesnakes have many complex components to their venom, including the hemotoxins and the neurotoxins. The rattlesnake bite can cause organ failure, massive internal bleeding, paralysis, local degradation of tissue, as well as systemic effects throughout one's body. But here's a good thing to note. Most of these snakes don't want to bite you. Their venom is for subduing and capturing prey. It's not really designed for people. Most bites happen when people mess with snakes, often trying to kill them, or it happens accidentally with a footstep or a hand placement in the wrong spot. Each year in the United States, it's estimated that some 7,000 to 8,000 people are bitten by snakes. But of all those snake bites, there's probably less than 5 people die. Most often, maybe 1 or 2 people in a year. So it's highly, highly, highly unlikely to die from a snake bite. Copperheads are actually responsible for the most snake bites because they're the most common. Rattlesnakes have much fewer bites, but their effects can be more deadly. So you might have already gathered which is the best answer to the question, would you rather get bit by a copperhead or a rattlesnake? It's probably better, if you're going to be bit, which you don't want to ever happen to you, it's probably be better to be bit by a copperhead than a rattlesnake. Why copperheads? Because they have a lower venom yield, they have a less potent venom, they're almost never fatal, while the bite of the copperhead can cause a localized reaction, great pain, swelling, necrosis, or dying of tissue over time. It rarely results in death. A rattlesnake bite, left untreated, could potentially be deadly. And this is the one where you often hear about multiple doses of anti-venom or crofab applied to people that have been bit, for example, by the eastern diamondback rattlesnake, which is probably one of the most dangerous of all the rattlesnakes in the United States because of its large size. Its large dose of venom in a bite and the complexity of that venom, including hemotoxins and neurotoxins. The takeaway here is don't be afraid of snakes. Snake bites are so rare, and it's even more rare to actually succumb to the bite of either of these snakes. If you'd like to learn more about snakes, check out my snake playlist and also my reptiles and amphibians playlist. I've got lots of episodes on snakes, amphibians, and reptiles of all kinds. And remember, if you like what I do on this channel, please subscribe, give me a like, and leave me a comment. I love hearing from my viewers. Every like and subscribe helps me share this with more people and my love of nature. And remember, I cover all things nature, from frogs, toads, snakes, and turtles, the myriapoda, insects, trees, wildflowers, and fungi. I cover all the things you might encounter just outside your door. So thanks again for watching this episode of Nature at Your Door.